And we're switching gears for now. Ukraine is reeling under relentless Russian bombardment. It is running out of ammunition, and in its desperate hour, its allies are quietly stepping back. Germany, in a stunning blow, refuses to send Taurus missiles, and now the NATO makes a rare admission that Russia's war machine is overpowering the West. Take a look.
The battlefield is blazing and Ukraine is bleeding. Russian cruise missiles are ripping through Kharkiv, Odessa and Kiev. And glide bombs have flattened frontline positions. Ukraine finds itself increasingly cornered. The anticipated lifeline from Berlin has now turned into a bitter disappointment. Germany, despite Ukraine's desperate pleas, has officially ruled out sending the long-range Taurus cruise missiles, a potential game-changer that could have struck deep into Russian logistics. Ukraine already has a number of missiles. It has Storm Shadow, an Anglo-French cruise missile. Then there are the American ATACMS with a range of up to 300 kilometers. Ukraine also has its indigenous Neptune missile, but with Taurus, Ukraine would have extended its strike range to 500 kilometers and increased the strike range of Ukrainian military. Instead, Berlin is offering IRST air defense systems, which are effective, but nowhere near the strategic capability that the Taurus missiles could provide. This decision comes on the heels of the United States slowing its own weapons pipeline. First, Washington diverted 20,000 missiles promised for Ukraine to West Asia. Then came another shocker: the Trump administration would be drastically cutting down the weapons aid to Ukraine. The West's backbone, it appears, is starting to crack. And now comes the most brutal truth straight from the NATO chief. Mark Rutte says that Russia produces as much ammunition in 3 months as NATO does in a year, posing serious risks for the military alliance.
Putin's war machine is speeding up, not slowing down. Russia is reconstituting its forces with Chinese technology and producing more weapons faster than we thought.
The NATO alliance, once confident of overpowering Putin's war machine, is now acknowledging its limitations. On the ground, Ukraine continues to suffer wave after wave of drone swarms, artillery strikes and missile barrages. In the air and on the front lines, Russia is pressing harder than ever, exploiting every detail and every diplomatic hesitation by the West. Despite the odds, Ukrainian military continue to put up a tough fight, stopping the Russian advance and continuing to destroy Russian weapons. Kiev's frustration is mounting, and so is the pressure on European capitals. With the war entering a critical phase, America's go-slow approach and Germany's refusal to part with Taurus missiles isn't just symbolic. It may shape the outcome of battles yet to come. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
And the Israeli strikes on Iran's military and nuclear installations opening a dangerous new chapter in the rivalry between the two West Asian powers. Today's strikes are much more dramatic than the 2 rounds of tit-for-tat attacks of 2024. Our special report now taking a look at how the two militaries compare in terms of soldiers and weapons.
As Israel weighs its options, Iran is warning it will respond in kind to any provocation. Waiting on the sidelines, the world doesn't have the appetite for another war. From Russia to the Europeans and the Gulf nations, all are urging Israel to exercise restraint. So amid all the concerns over an all-out war between Iran and Israel, how do the two militaries compare? Iran has one of the strongest militaries in West Asia. It has 610,000 active soldiers, which far outnumber Israel's 170,000 troops. Iran also has 350,000 reserved personnel in its ranks, while Israel has 465,000 reserved personnel. Not to mention two-thirds of the Israeli troops are already doing duty on the Gaza Strip. What Israel lacks in numbers, it more than makes up in its vast technological edge over Iran. Iran has about 186 fighter jets, while Israel has more than 250 fighter jets. But the numbers don't tell the full story. Iran's air force is the weakest wing of its military. Nearly two-thirds of Iranian jets were bought before 1979. Israel, on the other hand, has the latest air fighting machines. Israel has American F-16s and F-35 stealth combat jets. Israeli jets have regularly showed their firepower in operations against militants in Lebanon, Syria and Gaza. Iran has an upper hand with about 1,700 tanks compared to Israel's 1,300 tanks. Again, the numbers don't reveal the real picture. Israel has the state-of-the-art fleet of Merkava tanks, while the bulk of Iran's tanks are Soviet-era models bought in the 1990s. Again, in terms of armored vehicles, Iran has over 65,000 compared to Israel's 43,000. Israel's military vehicles are much faster and sleeker compared to Iran's. Though at a technological disadvantage, Iran's military could have a significant stockpile of the ballistic and cruise missiles and cheap unmanned aerial vehicles or drones. Again, Israel has a much more formidable arsenal when it comes to air defense systems. Iranian air defenses are much less developed than the multi-layer systems of Israel, and this is further bolstered by its ally, America. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
And with that, Israel's war with Iran has entered a new, audacious phase, one scripted in the shadows by Mossad and unleashed in the skies by the Israeli Air Force. As dawn broke, the world watched in shock as Israeli jets rode over Iran, pounding nuclear and missile sites in a coordinated assault that left Tehran, Natanz, military compounds ablaze. But the real story began long before the first bomb fell. Take a look.
Air raid sirens, mushrooming fireballs, F-16s staring through the skies. Israel says that 200 fighter jets took part in the mission. Israel's massive Operation Rising Lion has hit Iran hard. Iran's top commanders are dead. Nuclear sites ablaze.
Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons.
Tehran vows bloody payback as the region stands on a knife's edge. The devastation is unmistakable. Black smoke billows from the Natanz uranium enrichment facility, Iran's nuclear crown jewel. Flames consume buildings and emergency crews scramble through rubble. In Tehran, missile impacts shattered windows for kilometers, igniting fires and plunging neighborhoods into chaos.
I had just pulled out of the parking lot and was driving towards the middle of the road when I suddenly heard a massive explosion. Debris fell on my vehicle, trapping me inside. Right now my head is buzzing and I have no idea what exactly happened.
But the real shock lay in the Mossad's clandestine hand. In the weeks leading up to the raid, Mossad operatives created a covert drone launch base near Tehran. The Mossad placed precision weapon systems into Iran. These weapons were kept in a safe house right under the nose of the Iranian military. That's not all. Israeli commandos also quietly sneaked into Iran. All this was preparation for Thursday's fierce attack. As Israel's jet struck, these drones simultaneously activated, shredding surface-to-surface missile launchers and air defense systems from within. As a result, Iran's anti-aircraft defenses were blindsided, giving Israeli jets total air supremacy. Tehran skyline painted in ash and smoke. Among the dead are Iran Revolutionary Guards Chief Hossein Salami, Mohammad Bagheri, Iran's Armed Forces Chief of Staff, General Amir Ali Hajizadeh, the head of missile program, plus leading nuclear scientists. Iran labeled the strikes a declaration of war. Supreme Leader Khamenei warned of a bitter fate for the Zionist regime.
The attack last night has proven to the entire world the truth of what the Islamic Republic of Iran has been declaring for many years, that aggression and criminality are intrinsic to the Zionist regime's nature. Of course, the Iranian nation and its officials will not remain silent in the face of this crime. The Islamic Republic of Iran's legitimate and powerful response will make the enemy regret its foolish actions.
Global airspace was scrambled, flights grounded, crude oil surged, and stocks crumbled. The world is staring at a dangerously escalating situation in West Asia.